Welcome to Malo Talk. We are on our second episode.
Second episode of Malo Talk.
That's right.
What's our slogan again?
We'll be riffing on Latin rock.
Riffing on Latin rock.
I'm
riffing on you, you're riffing on me. We're riffing on Jay today.
Hey.
Welcome, Jay.
So our special guest today is Jay Rossette. Jay Rossette. Jay first joined Malo when he was 19 years old.
19. Very.
We won't say your age now.
Yeah, we won't say. We won't indicate 2001. We won't have to.
So this is our second episode. Tell you, Jay, how did you get the call to be part of Malo? How did your Malo journey start?
So big special thanks to Reggie Rodriguez back in Fresno, California.
Reggie.
I was playing with Reggie. All the band knows Reggie real well, and I was playing with him at a spot every Sunday. We had a residency at a spot called the Crossroads. It was a nice little spot. It was a quiet gig, but it was an early Sunday afternoon kind of. It was a long bar band gig, and one day Pops came in and he, the old management back with Johnny, rest his soul, Johnny Valenzuela, they lived down the street of the Crossroads. So Arcelio must have been just visiting with Johnny or something along those lines. But he came over to the Crossroads just to grab a beer. I think he was grabbing a drink and hanging out. And I knew he was really good friends with Reggie and the Statins, and he would often sit in. Sometimes I know the Statins backed him for a few shows. And he came in and he heard me play, and right there and then he saw me and he stopped me after the gig. Goes, "Hey, I like what I heard. How would you like to come on the road?" It wasn't much of a difficult choice. It was a very flattering offer, and sure enough, yeah, right there and then, right place, right time. He came in and
nice.
So you joined the Soikis.
I joined the Soikis, and I remember, Reggie was, it was a hard thing for him too, because we were, building a strong base in the home front, and I tried to make it work for a while, but eventually it was like I said, my commitments took me on the road, and I got that very young start. We were all over the Southwest, all over, up and down California, and it was my first weekend. I think we went off, Albuquerque, Denver, Santa Fe. It was a fun
journey.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when I rejoined the band, I think it was back in 2013, 2014, around there.
Yeah, and I subbed.
Yeah, you subbed, and that was in my hometown, Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Yes, sir.
And I'd never played with Jay before, but it was just like, wow, it was really good. And then eventually Gabriel left the group, and Jay came on full time again, and now he's doing a lot of musical direction for us, and we're taking a lot of the old music and putting some really nice melodies and segue into different songs. The word escapes me. Medleys.
Yes, medleys. Yeah.
So Jay's playing a big part of that, and I'll tell you what, the band is sounding great. Real quick, we're actually doing a show tonight at Buffalo Bills at Start of the Desert Arena. Yeah. It's Art LeBeau. Is it 7 or 8?
It's at 8 o'clock.
No, it's Art LeBeau, number 7. Is it 7 show?
Yeah,
I think
it's a 7 show.
7th or 8th, one of the two.
Yeah.
I think it's number 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's number 8, yeah. I don't know Roman numerals. I only come up to 4. I'm a musician. So that's 4, right?
V, 5.
V is okay.
V is 5 and then 3. I think it's V plus 3, which is 8.
V plus 3 is okay. All right.
Yeah. I graduated. I think I could count.
Well, I was thinking dos X and then subtract 2.
Yeah, my goodness.
Because I think the 1 before the V is that's 4. I think you
that's
put
9,
on the inside. Yeah.
But in German, it's no. 9, no. Same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, actually, after the fact, you guys are going to hear this, but we are playing tonight, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's Tierra Malo, El Chicano, Lighter Shade of Brown, The Midnighters.
The Midnighters.
So Latin Legends is going to be Art LeBeau show. And I think this is going to be like the second or third time that Jay gets to pull out his beautiful custom-made guitar.
Yeah.
You want to show these guys?
Yeah, sure. I'd be glad
Show
to.
us the new family member to Malo. She has to be protected.
I always use protection.
Yeah, this was made for me. Just picked it up a month and a half ago. Played in Cerritos, California, early May, and this is by a builder out of Southern California named Josh Williams. This is his Mockingbird model, basically similar to what I normally play. I usually play a Gibson 335, and I got to connect with Josh, and a really, really nice team. I was able, not too common in businesses these days, I was able to pick this up directly from the builder's home, just the way it worked out. He knew I was on the road and we were in the area, and he was able to accommodate me meeting him, and him and his team were really great to work with, Russ and the entire team. And yeah, it's been an honor to be playing this, getting to know it real well. So tonight I'll get a nice little debut.
So it takes on a personality of its own sometimes, huh?
Oh yeah, no, this is a voice, and it's like I said, it's just been a pleasure to have. It's just one of those things where it's really special.
So your wife let you buy it?
Yeah, definitely.
Did you tell
definitely had to get that approval first. Happy wife, happy life.
Did you tell her, hush, little baby, don't
my
say a word.
No,
Dad's gonna buy me a
believe it or
mockingbird.
not, my wife was very supportive, and she, I'd been making some changes to my health and a few things, and she was the one that encouraged me as a thank you to myself, I guess. For she was really strong in that you need to do something for you, and she was very instrumental in encouraging me to proceed with this, and I have a very, very, very fortunate situation where I have my wife and girls are super, behind what their dad does and their husband does. So,
Nice.
So baby, if I quit eating tacos, can I get a guitar like him?
but yeah, this is a new baby right here, so I'll set her aside and we'll continue.
He's like, I'm gonna put her away.
Yeah.
All he needs is that little alarm box, like clink, clink.
I know, right?
So whenever Jay is not touring the globe as a rock star musician, he also gives back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
He is a band leader for...
I'm at Madera South High School. Shout out to the Stallions.
Nice.
Or some music all day, every day. And I try to keep the two worlds separate, but, sometimes it's hard to avoid it. But yeah,
So how do the kids... Well, they're youngsters, so they maybe their parents or grandparents will know who Malo is. Do they know that you're
in a band?
a lot do. A lot
you get
do.
to do some really cool things outside. Yeah.
Nowadays with the reach of social media, they're definitely able to see some of the things that I do. Like I said, I don't really talk about much when I'm working. But the influence, like I have a strong Latin jazz band that we incorporate some of the music that we play, on a regular basis, some of the El Chicano stuff and some of the, Tower Power, and they get the influence, and they know that's it's what I love doing, and I try to impart that, because nowadays, these kids, they didn't have the music that we grew up with, and I'm not saying the music that they hear growing up with is not great, but sometimes I feel like, the music that we are able to make creates a connection to the past and the things that came before us. So I try my best to, give them that gift of something when I was a kid. All I wanted to do was make music, and some of these musical selections that we get to perform on a nightly basis. That was my textbook, and I went to school and all that, but my real education was in the earphones, listening to Malo and listening to Abel Zarate and listening to Jorge Santana and listening to Arcelio create what is, I consider, the fabric of my upbringing. Café and Peace and Pana and all those things were on constant repeat. And I like to thank my cousin Rico. He gave me a cassette tape with the greatest hits of Malo, and I burned that thing out so bad. And
Did he wear a diamond?
It wasn't that Rico, but it was. And my family, my dad's brothers, and my dad is a big influence on me. My dad, he's with me tonight. He's my road dog.
What's up, Gilbert?
Aww.
Gilbert is here in the building, and they get to travel, and he gets to see a lot of the acts that he grew up listening to in a face-to-face format, but. They gave me that gift. They gave me the gift of the music of yesterday to create. And, I've always identified with it. Like I love what we get to do.
Isn't that really cool? Because I remember when I got back in the band and my father, went on the road with me, and he lives in New Mexico, and the groups he grew up listening to, Tierra, Malo, El Chicano, and it was War and Los Lonely Boys. It was real cool. I was having more fun taking my dad backstage than just playing. It's some of the really cool things to do as we're growing up and get to just carry on the legacy of what we're doing. So you mentioned a couple of guitar players, Abel and Jorge and Carlos, of course.
And you get compared to them a lot.
And I will never, ever accept those comparisons, but I will always say, and Abel Zarate is a definite influence on me, and it's great to be connected with them via social media, and we've got to exchange some brief conversations. I've always let him know that I'm a huge fan of his work, and I try my best to honor the things that because Jorge is a legend in his own right, and I know a lot of people often cast him in the shadow with Carlos, but he was always someone who, and again, the kind of spirit. You know this. He was a super gentle giant. But Abel, I often feel I would love to see him get the recognition that he deserves because of the craft that he was able to create with his lines and his contributions to the music on that first album. And again, to pay legacy to that is a huge honor to me. I would never accept the comparison, but I will always be thankful for it.
I'll tell you what, you're carrying the legacy very well, very well.
Thank
so
you.
Besides guys in Latin rock genre, did you ever branch out, have influence in jazz or maybe even heavy metal?
Oh, yeah, Joe Pass, lots of different styles. You asked me who my favorite guitar player is, and I couldn't answer that. I do listen to a lot of vocalists. So when I play, it's not always guitarists who I'm trying to channel. I try to, singers and different Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, those types of things where I try to emulate that. But
give me an example of that, like of Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson was someone I grew up with.
But how would that translate to a guitar kind of thing?
Well, some of his I don't want to get too technical, but just the melodic kind of choices that he would use. It speaks, and when he sang a line and it made musical sense, and like I said, I try to copy those types of things, the direction of the melody and how it relates to the chord harmony and things along those lines. But guitar players, jazz, rock, Latin. I listen to a lot of, like, we were listening to Hector Lavoe and Willie Colon and Jimmy Bosch, trombone player. But guitar players like Derek Trucks. But again, him, if I recall, quoted like people like Stevie Wonder and Aretha Franklin as his influences. He's a slide player, and I love those type of guitar players who use. I'm not a shredder. I can't shred. I can't play fast notes. But I try to make the guitar be an extension of the voice, and that's kind of what I.
You make it
he
say
does
something.
that with you.
What does he do?
Like when you're singing.
Oh,
on
when we get to
stage.
exchange.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's always fun.
Yes, it is, and the fans love it.
Yeah.
I take that approach with vocals also as well. When I was younger, and just like a lot of young guitar players, like they want to shred right away. It's like faster is better. When I was younger, it's like higher was better. I can sing higher, and it's as you get older, more mature. It's like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Slow it down.
A good friend of mine over at home, his name is Ray Moore, and we've been making music for a long time.
And a good musician, yeah.
And something that he always shouts out when we play: "Take your time, take your time." And what that means is just be wise in your choice of the notes and make every note have a purpose.
Yeah, I've heard something similar. It says, "Give every note its worth."
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Give every note its worth. So yeah, well that's awesome. So
So you've been getting a lot of attention on social media.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
It's something that I can't say I'm comfortable with. The social media, I'm kind of I've fought it for a long time. I rarely. It's just one of those things where I know it's kind of a necessary evil. I've embraced it. It's part of our community. It's part of what we do, and it's kind of an essential for what we do now. But like I said, I try to pay tribute to the music and to the band and to the logo that you guys wear, and anything that I do. Again, I try to honor what was done before me, and try not to make it about me. I try to make it about the people who created this music and honoring their legacy. I got to grow up. Gosh, talk about a front seat. When I first started in the band, I was 19, and little did I know the legends that I was watching. Before Malo, we did a lot of Latin legend show with Tierra and El Chicano, and watching Mickey and Jerry, and even with Tierra, like Rudy and the original members when I first got in, Aaron Ballesteros and Isaac and Billy and all these guys who were just master showmen. And there I was on the side, just kind of quietly, just taking notes. And I won't say too much, but one of the first experiences in the band when I was 19 or 20, we were playing down in San Diego, and we got to the hotel really late, maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, and the guys that I was traveling with, Pete and Daniel, Huggy as we call them,
The sweat hugs.
yeah, they were like, "Hey, well, let's keep driving down south." And okay, we ended up at the border and hopping over, and had a fun night. And by the time we came out, the sun was out and the birds were chirping, and I had to do a TV spot with Arcelio and Rudy.
Oh, you got bit
my
by the
goodness.
lotus flower.
And and I showed up. There's pictures. I'll pull up a picture. I'll give it to you for you can show. But I'm wearing shorts and flip flops, and they're in their beautiful zoot suits. It was Dale Villavicencio and Rudy and Arcelio Pops, and there I am on network TV.
Oh my goodness!
Those are the things that I remember. And again, thankfully this was all before social media. But,
Did you hit the worm?
no, I didn't. I had a great time, and it was a great memory. But
That's all I'm going to say about that.
That's we'll keep it right there.
He's like,
This is a PG-13.
Yeah. It was a fun time. It was a great time.
so you have to name some moments that you had with my dad that were
We,
funny or-
the guys, we all still the sound checks are always a blast, and whenever we're sound checking, and the band is loud. It's a big band, 3 horns, 2 percussionists, full on guitar, and thankfully this band lets me have some freedom with playing the guitar the way we love to play it, which is loud and fast. And one sound check, I remember Arcelio, he was at sound check, and sometimes he wasn't as the years progressed. He was not always able to do so, and we would sound check for him. And one time we came in, and it's too loud.
Was it the Tropicana in Laughlin?
I think it might have been. Yeah, it might have been. And it's too loud, and we stopped. What's too loud? Everything. Just like
We're like,
so we had to
okay.
pump the brakes a little bit, and sometimes it's too much. But yeah, Arcelio is always the one thing I remember about Pops is he always had the way to make you laugh, no matter what mood you're
He's
in,
a jokester.
no matter where you're coming from, no matter how late at night. His laugh, ha ha ha. You remember the laugh.
You do it good.
And I remember there was one gig where I was in the band, and back when there was 2 guitarists, and Gabe Monzo and myself were splitting the duties. There was one gig that I couldn't make, which was Chicago. There was a date in Chicago, and they were playing with El Gran Combo, and it was a big festival. But I was in school at the time. I was getting my bachelor's degree in music, and it was on the day of the first convocation that I couldn't make, because that was like, if you're not there, you're dropped from the program. And so I had to give up the gig, and he brought me back a little souvenir. Didn't ask. He just brought it back for me. I still have it in the house. It was a very nice gesture. And, those are the things that I remember. Just a little, he had his way of he was always a bull. He never, he never let you know, or never let you forget. Like he never had to remind you, like, this was the band and this is the way it was run. But he always had a soft spot that, if you were fortunate enough to experience, I got to.
That's nice. That's awesome. So, did he crack any jokes on you? Because we know he had some on Paul.
He had, not a whole lot. I can't say I was the baby, man. Like, these guys are all seasoned pros, and I was 19, and I always say this, and I often say what it was like when I was starting with the band, being so young. And I kind of got a backwards experience where my first real, I don't want to say my first band because I was in a couple of locals, but I got a very nice treatment where it was all, planes and nice hotels. And
Nobody hazed you?
No. Huggy and Juice, I mean, they had a couple of nights where they ravaged our hotel rooms beverages a few times, but I mean, not a whole lot of hazing. But,
was Gibby in the band?
Gibby was in the band.
He didn't haze you?
No,
I talked about that shit.
Again, I was just kind of quiet into myself, but
So nobody messed with you.
No, and the thing was, it was because I was genuinely like, I didn't even know what I didn't know. That's how young I was, because I had never really experienced. I went backwards. I got with Malo. I left. I was able to give 6 years in the beginning, and then we split ways, and I went off to do some local bands where we traveled, and it went from planes and hotels and to
regular life.
vans and 6 guys in a room, and but thankfully the world worked itself out. The guys that I ended up making those regional tours, Aaron, 40 Watt Hype, who's now drumming for us, and Pat, those guys, we have 20 years of experience together, and
And it shows. It shows you guys have created a really good, good nucleus there.
Matter of fact, when 40 Watt was just getting their start, I was just joining Malo, and Aaron had reached out to me to help with that, and just the way the world worked. My schedule wouldn't allow for it, and you know that's a full-time commitment on their own. And they went off and they found the right people for his band to grow organically, and they have some great records. And then when I linked up with them around 2007 or 8, you know, I've got to record a few albums with them as well, and done some great shows, some great runs too.
Oh, you guys!
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah, 40 Watt Hype has some really good stuff out. So if you
Yeah.
get a chance
I
to
didn't
check
know they
them out.
recorded
Oh
albums.
no, we have. We recorded an album. The last one I think we released was 2010, but it got some nice traction. I know there was some placement on like Narco soundtracks and a few other things that were.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
I learned something new today.
yeah, no, the guys are great. Aaron's a masterful musician, and Pat as well. Caesar's filled in for us a few times too.
Bastard.
So there's some family there now. Like I said, and it's just nice to be able to share the opportunity with these guys as well.
Yeah.
So now you went from the youngest to, I guess we're all older now.
Wait, so who's the youngest in the band right now? Anthony?
Caesar, I think. Well, I
is
don't
it
know.
Caesar?
That's a good question. Might be Anthony.
Anthony. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
could be Anthony. He's a.
Or Pete.
Oh yeah, Pete.
But Pete never grows old.
Pete is like Benjamin Button. He's getting younger.
He's 103 years old.
Yeah, he's getting younger as he gets older.
Yeah.
Pete. Oh, you know that's a fun story too. Pete was with Reggie when I got in, and you know he was fortunate to be at the right place at the right time when he got in the band.
You got Pete in the band, right?
Yeah, he came with me to a show where we did at the Greek Theater. We were splitting the bill with War and Tower Power, and he's a big Tower Power fan, and I'm sure he can tell you this, but you know he happened to sit in, and you know the rest is history. He came in and he sat in, and now
So how old was Pete when he joined the band?
I couldn't tell you.
70.
Oh my God.
He's 72.
Yeah, but he's 32 right now.
So you were 19 when you joined the band.
Yeah.
And then you said you were with the band for 6 years.
I was with the band for 6 years.
And then how old were you when you came back?
It was 2016. So how many years ago? 8 years ago. We were at the Pomona Fair and got the call, and you know I'm honored to have received that call.
I thought it was
Nice.
Gilroy.
No, it was Pomona. It was the again she's splitting the bill with War, and yeah, we did the gig there, and then I think shortly after we did our first cruise and a few other things. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun shows since then, and I was asked if I would be interested in returning full time as a member, and of course, you know, like I said, my heart has always been with this music. It's always been with, and again, it's always been about the original album. That thing has such a profound impact on my life, and being able to start to recreate some of those B-side kind of deeper cuts has been something that's, you know, been a long-time dream of mine that I'm glad to see happen.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Yes, we are.
Definitely glad to have you.
And I think the fans are glad to have him too.
And we're making more memories. There still might be a couple more 6 guys in a room and van episode, but depending on the budget.
Hey, the bus, man, that legendary Malo bus. That
Oh God!
and then
Everybody talks about that bus.
the blue bus, and then the white van. That white van. I can't say I have a lot of experience because
Wait, the blue bus is the one that had the furniture in it.
yeah, that's the original.
Leo even talks about that bus.
It had a recliner in there with a swivel. It had 1970s living room furniture in there.
But see, there was a time
Wait,
where
didn't you say it had a TV too?
It had it had Curtis Mathis.
yeah, there was.
My God!
There was a time where it was like myself.
Betamax.
It was myself, Huggy, and Pete were the only Fresno guys, and we would have to often link out of San Francisco. So we had I remember there was a real janky little Blazer SUV, or I don't remember what kind of SUV it was, but it was a brown one. I remember a lot of those. We would leave Fresno often 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night for a 7 a.m. flight, and we would have to be there by 5-ish, 6-ish. So we would try to get there with plenty of time. And but yeah, those were.
And whose Blazer? Pete's?
I think Arcelio bought it for the guys, and they bought it just for us guys coming from Fresno, because that was the way, because everything was based out of the Bay Area, and we were flying out of.
Was it insured?
But I can tell you that we would always say a prayer before we started the keys.
Did you ever see the title?
There's a lot of things that I'm just here to
I'm
just tell
here
me
to
where
be
to
in the
be and where to
band.
go. I don't ask many questions. Just tell me where to go.
Which you don't know doesn't hurt.
That's right.
I'm not going to ask where that vehicle is right now.
Hey, what matters is it got you from point A to point B. That's what matters.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun times. We have a lot of like I said, just the road is always an adventure, and it's the best way that I can put it. It's never a boring time to do what we're doing, and like I said, Julian, rest his soul, he was with us for a while, and Juice, and with Juice and Huggy together, like I said, you cannot have a more fun time.
You know what was really cool about Juice also was he took the approach you did. He would really study what Pablo was doing, and even after Pablo, we even studied what Ramiro was doing on the Latin Legends. I could hear that, and then he put his own stamp on it. But that's what I like about you and the guys we have now. Pay homage to the original sound.
That's right, because that's the sound that everyone wants to hear. And as much as there are things that I like or the other guys like, I love that this band is really kind of honing into those original sounds and the original, not just the parts, but the sounds themselves. Like you'll hear what some of these guys are recreating, and it's fun. The band is fun, and we've seen a lot of changes over the years, and I've seen a lot of changes. You've seen a lot of changes, and it's gone through some real strong moments. It's gone through some challenging moments, and now I feel like there's kind of a phoenix rising moment where there's a really
coming out of it,
a really strong momentum that is just, but it's organic. It doesn't feel forced. It feels like guys in a room that just love making the good music that we grew up listening to.
Let's just play like we know it. That's what I always say. If you know it, you just play.
That's right.
You just play. So, any upcoming songs that you want to bring into Malo that maybe we haven't done? Because
question.
Well, we just brought in. Just so happened, Jay calls me up and he says, "What do you think about this? Hear me out." And I think there was a reason why we did it. I don't remember why. And so we were just looking at the material, and we brought in "Just Say Goodbye."
Oh yeah.
And it was really weird. First time we did it was in San Jose.
San Jose. Oh my gosh.
And then during that time, when it starts climaxing, I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Oh my gosh. We all remember
it just
that
starts
night.
drizzling.
Misting. It was literally
Perfect.
misting.
I mean, and it was just, and I was singing, and I could hear somebody singing with me because it's like a double. It's like
the unison, doubling.
Yeah. And I looked at Jay, and Jay was playing, so he's not singing. And somebody else singing. It must have been an angel or something, but I could hear someone singing.
We felt
with
it.
me.
We all felt it. Like it was like a presence, just kind of like just fell.
That's a great word. Yeah.
It was. And Jay normally doesn't say stuff like this to me, and he was like, "Pop was there.
Yeah.
Pop was there." I was getting emotional, and I was feeling it, but I didn't want to say anything because I'm like, they're gonna think I'm crazy because I'm the daughter. And then you felt it. And then everybody started like saying, no, we all felt it. And that was like a really, really nice moment to have because it almost felt like he was there with us.
Yeah, there was definitely an energy that came over the group. And we all kind of went to this place where as musicians, that's where we want to be. And you can't try to go there. It's just... There's a moment in time where everyone, where the music kind of transcends into something bigger, and that was a great example of where
just hits.
Yeah, everything just locked in, and like you said, chills were there, and and it was a rain, but it wasn't a rain that drove anybody away. It was
like a mist.
It was crazy. Yeah. Yes, it was like a mist, and then everybody stayed there. It's like usually when it starts raining, people start like you kind of trying to find cover, and no, everybody stayed while that mist was coming down. Yeah. It was crazy.
And then as soon as the song was over, it's like
it dissipated. It was so like surreal where it was just for those. I mean, it's a long song. I think we did the full version of it, and it was like 8 or 9 minutes. Which, gosh, that song is so well crafted, and I know
we should just do that today. Heck with it.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you. Even last year when we did our gig at Prim, and I think I even told you. I never go on stage, never. And Joanna from Tierra was like, just go and because I just wanted to take a picture of the audience. And she's like, just go up there, just take a picture. I was like, no. Because you know me, I'm behind the scenes. I don't like none of that. And so she just kind of like, go. And I'm like, so next thing you know, you guys are playing, I'm on stage. And I went to take the picture and I felt the same thing. Yeah. Like this presence came over me and I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? And I just started getting really emotional. So when I got off the stage, Joanna was looking at me. She saw me. She said, "Oh man." And when I came down, she hugged me. And I told her I felt my dad there. It was it was almost like, I told her I felt like he wanted me to feel what it feels like to be on stage. I'm not a singer. I'm not a musician. So I don't know that feeling. And he knows. Remember I told you I was literally, and not like sobbing. I just had tears coming down for like 2 days after that. And after I had that moment, it like lit a fire under me. And ever since then, right? I mean, he knows I fight for you guys and I fight for my dad's legacy. And not just my dad's legacy. Like you said, we pay homage to Jorge, to Abel, to Pablo, to all of them, Leo, because they all deserve that in their own right,
And when I first got in the group, because like I said, I had a quite an honor of playing in the shadows of Gabe Monzo and some of the contributions that Gabe and Tony made to the band, which the band has a long history and a lot of huge catalog, and like, Ritmo Tropical and techno and those things that I know Gabe and Tony were very instrumental in crafting. Playing those songs for a night in, night out basis and getting to play with the guys who wrote the music. And of course, the stuff that came from the original album, from, the original lineup. Covering those things and then coming back to the roots where the ones that we all grew up playing, because Gabe is a huge influence on my playing. And like I said, when I first got in the group, Tony and Carlos Cotto and Gibby Ross, the percussion section, and Steve Rocha, and a lot of these people are no longer with us. And we're thankful for the experiences that they gave us. So we get to carry on their legacies as well. But gosh, man, you mentioned songs. One of the songs that that doesn't get a lot of recognition in the mainstream, but I Found You Out. I don't know if you remember that song.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I Found You Out. I love some of those kind of
my
obscure.
mom loves that song.
Yeah, there's just some songs that only and here's the deal. I may play with the band, but I'm a fan first, and I've always been a fan of this music, and I've always been a fan. Like I said, Carlos has been an influence on me, but again, the Malo sound. They in the heyday. There was a lot of things that were going on musically that were super complex and super risky for the time. And but it like I said, it No Matter and Peace.
Oh, man,
me. Peace is almost like
I love that song.
I feel like the Nagy, baby daughter or son or whatever. Dad, can we please play? And but the guys seem to be open to it. So
mine is Oye Mama. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah,
and Paul knows that. I'm like, I want the guys to play Oye Mama. So I know we're gonna.
And Oye Mama was fun to break out. We played in Pomona a couple weeks back, and we got to break out some of the Oye Mama and Latin Boogaloo, and those are, like I said, as a musician, those are just fun songs to play.
Yes, they are.
As a vocalist, you know which one I want to do? Close to You.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's Lil Willie G.
We're gonna have to start breaking them out.
That's Lil Willie G. I'm singing lead on that one, right?
Yeah. And Chévere. Chévere is a song that I played in my high school Latin jazz band, and we had a non-traditional Latin jazz band where we played a lot of like Maná and some Malo tunes and some. It wasn't like what I'm teaching. Sometimes we teach some of the more traditional stuff, and I remember playing as a young Mocoso playing.
Mocoso.
Yeah, I was playing Chévere, and we played it all wrong, of course. We were kids that didn't know much, but the fact that kids in a high school were making music from the 70s back when I was in high school, it's just a fun time to be there. And then now some of those guys we're still friends, and they're like, man, we're still doing it, and we're doing it in a fun way. Chévere is always a fun song to play too.
We did it last week.
Yeah.
We got to do Maná Maná.
Oh, don't you start.
Maná. We're talking about yeah.
I played a joke on her once. Did you guys know that Malo's on Sesame Street? Malo's Sesame Street?
We're going to let him tell the
story.
Did you know?
Go for it. Yeah.
Did you know
I feel like I know this story, but go ahead.
He says it to everybody.
That's I used to love Sesame Street. My favorite character was this. He was purple, but his name was Roosevelt Franklin. But every time it came out, it had the coolest bass line, so I would run in. And he was my favorite, but Powers of B took him off because I guess he was controversial, which I don't know. He was funky. Anyways, so I love Sesame Street. So then later on, I found out Malo did an album, and Sesame Street did an album. Malo was there. So I was joking with her, and there was the old school Maná Maná. Arcelia had the beard and everything. So I told the vet, I said, yeah, they patterned that after your dad. And she told her son, and
And I was like, this Muppet's supposed to look like Grandpa. And my son goes, oh, that Muppet doesn't look like Grandpa. He's like ugly. So Paul's like, I'm like, you sure they named that Muppet after my dad?
You know me, I'm full of shit.
Yes, because he's really good at telling stories, but they're lies.
Yeah.
No, it's not lies. It's called BSing.
Yeah.
If it's far-fetched and outlandish, I'm probably
but
bullshitting you.
now I know Paul very well. So
Oh, yeah.
now I know. I'm like, no.
And Paul, whenever he calls, I love having conversation with him because not what the content of the conversation, but it's often the ending because it just catches you so off guard. The conversation's flowing. Okay, bye. But what?
Yes.
What? I mean, thanks for.
I do that?
Yeah, all
Yes,
the damn time.
all the time. And you'll have like full-blown conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, bye.
I gotta go. Bye.
And I'm like, bye.
All right. So you guys got to edit it out because sometimes I'm supposed to be working. They catch me.
true.
So I'm like, oh, okay, shit, I got to go. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how come he'll be like, I'm gonna go on break. I'll be back. And I'm like, okay, not you.
So sometimes I'll call you a message and say, I want to say welcome.
Yes.
Welcome
I
to
actually have it saved on my phone
That's
because I think
that's
it's
a Sesame
hilarious.
Street one.
Man.
And I think
You haven't seen it?
I have not seen it.
I think the
Oh my
drummer's
God.
name at the time was Tony Brown.
Okay.
And him and Jorge are having a dialogue.
Wow. I gotta.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
we're gonna have to send it to
Yeah.
Jay.
We're gonna have to pull that up.
Yeah, it's awesome. So maybe Sesame Street, if you write another song for you, right? Jim?
Let's get it.
There you
I'm
go.
ready.
It won't be
Oh,
Mana.
that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Him playing the guitar with like a Muppet next to him.
Imagine Gibby as a Muppet.
Oh Jesus.
Gibby would make a great Muppet.
Yeah, actually, he sort of
Gibby would be like Animal.
Yeah, Gibby would make a great Muppet.
The drummer.
Gabriel used to say, "Look at Gibby. He looks like the Simpsons drew him." And I looked at his profile and said, "Yeah, that does look like the Simpsons drew him." Now, you know-
Gibby has
Gibby's
always
episode is
had.
going to be fun.
Oh yeah, well Gibby has always been humor. Gibby has ever since I first got in the group. His and it's funny because when I came into the band, I'm from Mendota, California, which is 35 miles west of Fresno, and there's not a lot to do out there. And I based myself out of Fresno now, but when I got into the band, a kid from Mendota with all these legendary musicians that have been, Gibby with Tito Puente and Celia Cruz and, Gabe and the history that he has and Tony and then Gibby, for a while, I believe he went off on the road with Journey for a little while.
with Journey, and he
Yeah.
was with the Red Rocker himself,
Sammy Hagar. Yeah. And again, these guys are all, I'll never forget the first time I went on the tour with them and we were in an airport flying out of Denver and they pulled up it was Gibby, Carlos Cotto, and Tony sitting at this, it was like an airport table, like a restaurant. But Gibby was doing, he was doing some practice just on his own. And as he was doing that, Carlos sat next to him and just started tapping along. And then Tony walked up and all of a sudden they're just banging on this countertop table, but a full crowd ensued and I'm just watching this like these guys are masterful, like they're just making music out of a table and it sounds like they were in a drum circle and again that's when it was at that moment, like I'm not going to be kidding to you, it was at that moment that I realized this is a whole different setting than what I'm used to. This is I come from a small town, very humble beginnings, and those type of people weren't always around to learn from. And so again, being someone who went through a formal, I guess you'll say a form of musical education, I have my bachelor's degree from Fresno State, but
So you think you're better than us?
no, but I can say
That's indoor joke.
Yeah, that's
Indoor joke.
that's Jack.
Yeah.
But I can say that there's nothing that could have prepared me more than being on the road with these guys. And I remember one time, man, we were playing at the House of Blues, and I had to tell my choir teacher, who's one of my favorite people still to this day, her name's Anna Hammer. I have a gig at the House of Blues, and it was on the night of a choir concert. She's like, "Yeah, well, you got to make a choice." And like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, this is your requirement, and this is your grade." And I said, "Well, it's at the House of Blues, that's fine, but you've had this on your account." And it taught me a lot about accountability. I mean, unfortunately, I had to take the lump on my grade, and I took the gig.
You had to.
Oh,
I got
wow.
it because that's my job, But
Yeah.
and then a lot of not a lot of what I do in my musical education world doesn't always align with the musical performance world. And sometimes it's a fine line to be an educator and a performer. And again, some of those experiences were tough, but I was thankful for. Like I said, watching these musicians, and it was kind of scary. I didn't know, and that's why I'm kind of a naturally, and Paul, you know this, I'm kind of a hermit. I'm not always out, in front of a lot of people, because I've always felt like the kid in the room, where I'm just looking up to these giants, and I don't want to make waves. I just want to absorb, learn, and I'm a forever student. Like, I always want to learn, and like I said, having these as unofficial teachers, these musicians were, like I said, I'm super thankful for that.
Well, yeah, you've always had a humble spirit, but I'll tell you what, once you hit that stage, you take no prisoners, my friend. You take no prisoners.
Yep.
You wail and wail. So you're going to make that guitar cry tonight?
I hope. I mean, like I said, I hope to do it justice. I just text Josh, the builder, just a moment ago. Hey, you get to be on the big screen tonight, because I saw the arena has the cameras and.
Yep.
But yeah, it's fun. Like I said, it's just the thing plays itself. I just get to go along for the ride with it.
That's exciting.
So, a couple more things. Do you have any major concerts with your school group? They got any cool things coming up? Give them a good shout out there.
We just marched Disneyland, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, we marched Main Street. So that was back in December-ish, and we plan on doing that again soon. But yeah, it's a fun time. Like I said, I get to be the guy who lets them grow into musicians himself, and
that's nice.
It's always fun.
Because we're talking about being the kid, but now you're in a chance to pass on your knowledge.
What are you saying? I have a lot of gray hair? Is that what you're saying? I know. My wife tells me. I get it. My wife called me out the other day. She goes, when I guess it must have been the lighting, because she gives me a hard time. When I first started getting the gray, it's blonde hair. That's that's genetic. There's some blonde hairs in that's not blonde hair, hon. And then the other day, like just before we took off, it must have been the lighting, and she goes, how does it feel? Your whole side went gray. I go,
my goodness.
Hey, easy.
So back in the days, Sebastian Ponte and I had this long hair.
Oh yeah.
And we were going to get sponsored by Paul Mitchell. But so now if you guys are looking just for men, if you could sponsor us.
Yeah.
I knew he was going somewhere with
just
that.
For men.
Just for men, yeah. I think, yeah.
I had hair when not like long hair, but I had this and not this. I had an annoying little thing on my chin. I don't know what it was.
Maybe we can get a group discount.
It was the early 2000s. The new metal wave was.
It's like our next episode, we're going to have like a Just for Men box in the middle of the table.
Yeah. It's just for you, Ming.
Oh my God.
For you, Ming.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on our second episode.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, we're excited about tonight. We're in Vegas. And our next, we have another Latin Legend show coming up July 6th, Eagle Mountain. And if you guys missed that one, we have another one coming up August 24th at, is it Palma?
Palma, yeah.
Palma Casino.
Yeah.
Where's
Palma?
It's in Temecula.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. And these Latin Legends shows are always fun. We always appreciate being part of the Art and LeBeau connection.
Yes.
It's always great.
And then we also have the big show, August 31st.
Yes, Live Nation.
Live Nation.
Yep.
Lionel Richie, Diana Ross.
Al Green.
Carlos Santana.
Lionel Richie, Carlos Santana.
The Jacksons. I mean, we could just keep going and going. And Malo is on that bad boy.
I'm really excited to see, if you haven't checked them out. We saw them at what theater? Was it the Regent or La Lome? If you haven't looked them up, they're a trio based out of Los Angeles. It's they play a lot of traditional cumbia, but like a guitar. It's like surf meets Colombian. But it's a guitar, bass, and drum trio. If you haven't,
is it a real bass or a guitarron?
No, they play upright, and it's killer. And then the electric guitar, it's like a surf sound. It's got this real vibey kind of. And we went to go watch them.
Surf sound,
like surf, like
the Beach Boys.
Yes, but cumbia.
No,
look them up.
We'll put it on the car.
Yeah, La Lome, they're on the bill as well. There's a ton of.
I want to see Sacred Souls.
Oh yeah, Sacred Souls.
Oh my goodness! Do you know who Sacred Souls old
I don't know who anybody is.
Oh my God, Paul, get with the times. You didn't even know who T-Pain was.
Baby Bash will be there.
I know Baby Bash.
Yeah,
is
Baby
there?
Bash. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't even know that.
A ton of.
I have to look at that lineup again, but it's so many
When I
bands.
saw the lineup, I almost believed there's no way this is real, and sure enough, it's real. And
real.
I'm like, I had to do a little.
I've talked to
pinch.
them a few times, and it's on. Even Aaron was saying that.
Yeah,
Aaron was
it's a
like,
great-
it's gonna be a bad lineup. I'm like, it's gonna be crazy that day.
yeah.
But I said, we're gonna enjoy it, and we're gonna have fun with it.
Yeah.
So we hope to see all our Malo fans out there.
So this sort of concludes our second time of Malo Talk. We're going to be dropping different Malo Talks every so
Every
often.
third Sunday of the month.
All right. That's
But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, everythingsmaloofficial.com, our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube. So make sure you follow us so you can see where we're at in your city, and you'll see us on tour.
Right on.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you having me. Have a great one.